Om. 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 Om Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Satgurum Namami Shruti Smriti Purana Alayam Tarunalayam Namami Bhagavat Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badaraya Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Sadashivasamarabha Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Jai Gurudev. So,
Jai Gurudev, Dr. Brahmara, your volume is very low today.
very low, is it? Oh,
Yeah,
even now?
it's better now.
Is it very low? Oh, I didn't hear my
Yeah.
my here. It says it's 100%.
Normally it's quite loud. Today is very low.
Oh, let me know because right now my volume is 100% only here on my
Now
computer.
it's better. Now it's better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
So Nana is coming tomorrow. He's going to. He said he will wrap up the Dwichatvarimshat, and he's actually started. He's been reading part 3 of the Prasthanatrayam, which I will share with all of you today. That is it's called Gita Dhyanam. It is not the same as the Parthaya Pratibodhitam before we chant chapter 1 of Gita. It's not that. It is apparently, it is kind of the gist of the Gita, so to say, but without the Sanskrit verses in. So he is reveling in that actually right now. So he wanted to share that. He said, we'll make a beginning with that. So he said, the insight you get when you're just reading rather than having the Sanskrit verses interspersed. I think it's best that he explains it himself. So he said he will introduce that to us and he will be there tomorrow. So what do you suggest we do today? Because
Ramaraji, if you need Kshamyatam, if you need my help, just let me know. Okay?
certainly,
I'm here.
Leela. Certainly, no problem.
Dhanyavad.
So I was just thinking whether we should go through the Dwichatvarimshat. The beginning, there is all the shlokas are given in this 1 hour.
I love the idea, Brahmaraji, what you said, Nana's shlokas, no, what he has picked up. So I will, I'm really serious about doing that. So right from the beginning, what he has picked up, whether to support this Dwichatvarimshat or on his own.
Yeah.
So we will just pick up those shlokas,
What
or
would,
as everybody suggests.
yeah, because we have,
I was thinking like that we know this is such a consolidated text, and it is written in points, all the slokas. So like
we have one more time.
every shloka you like the meaning is given. So if we can elaborate on that verse by verse, so that so that it helps to imbibe and it stays in the mind, because uh, just reading it it doesn't seeps in easily.
Mm,
It's like if you discuss over a particular verse, then in the end, these all these we were reading like uh, 41, 42, then various shlokas are there from chapter 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if we
correct.
can, whichever verse has depth in it, we can discuss that.
Yeah. That is
Which
one.
are simple, we can, yeah.
Yeah. Second, I was
As
thinking,
everyone.
yeah, I was just thinking maybe we'll start from verse 1. We'll do in groups of 5. Like we'll do five verses, and then we'll stop for maybe a little manana and then go to the next 5, like that. That is one idea. Rather than um, otherwise we'll be just picking and choosing, right? I
Yeah,
thought
we start from the beginning. Yeah,
start from the
whichever
beginning.
verse needs discussion, we will
We'll
stop
stop
there.
and discuss. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah,
better. Huh?
yeah,
Should we
yeah.
do that? So, Bela, do you want to share screen and then
Yeah. I
start
can
from part
share.
1,
Okay, just give me
verse
2 minutes.
1. What I will suggest is rather than spend time reading the verse, supposing there are some verses mentioned, let's not chant those verses. We'll just go to the meaning of the verses. So we conserve some time. Of course, you will chant the main verses mentioned in the Dwichatvarimshat. We'll do that. So I'll make a beginning before Bela is able to share her screen. So the verse 1 is
Just a minute, Ramaraji, I can start. Just a minute.
Yeah.
Can you all see?
Yeah.
So the first verse. Is it ahead, or I should go down, scroll down?
Yeah,
Right?
go down further.
Yeah, but there is first shloka here.
No, that is only he was explaining in chapter 13. The first verse is Arjuna Uvacha. That is what was mentioned there.
Okay.
You can start from message of part 1.
So it starts with second verse first, right? Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. My voice is clear.
Yeah, in case there is a disturbance, I'll let you know. Is there anyone? I think Suma is not there yet. But if there is anyone,
Mara or Madhuri ji, somebody.
yeah, we'll
Anybody
check if
can.
anyone can do it. If not, I will take it. No problem. Please go ahead, Bela.
Sanjay, yeah. This is from Dwichatvarimshat, the first shloka, and from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, shloka 1. Sanjay Uvacha tam tatha kripyavistam mashrupurna kulekshanam Vishidantamidam vakyam uvacha Madhusudana. Sanjay said to him who was sad and thus overwhelmed by compassion, whose eyes were filled with tears and showed distress. Krishna spoke these words. Arjuna was drowned in an ocean of compassion. His eyes were full of tears. He was sorrowful, disinterested in waging the war with his sinful cousins, and was even prepared, unarmed, to be killed by the armed enemy. So, see chapter 146, that is Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, verse 46. May I chant that, verse 46? Yadi.
I think, Bela, we will skip the chanting. We'll read.
Okay. 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 Arjuna, a great warrior, after ordering his charioteer, Bhagavan, to place his chariot amidst the two armies, was overwhelmed by what he saw when Bhagavan placed him facing both the opposing armies. He did not want victory and did not want the kingdom. He forgot the bitter travels that the Pandavas had undergone for 13 years, and he even forsook his Kshatriya dharma. To such a person who was in great conflict with himself, Bhagavan decided to bring some sense of purpose. Bhagavan Vyasa, through Sanjaya, introduced in this verse Bhagavan as Madhusudana. Adi Shankaracharya, the Bhashyakara, comments on this term as Sarvesham Dehe Madhuvata Ishtatavata Madhuhu Ahankaraha Asti. I repeat, Sarvesham Dehe Madhuvata Ishtatavata Madhuhu Ahankaraha Asti. Tasya Jnanasina Sudayati iti Madhusudana. Tasya Jnane Sina Sudayati iti Madhusudana. Meaning that in all beings there is Madhu, honey, Ahankara, which is very dear to the beings. Bhagavan is described by Bhashyakara as the one who would, with the sword of knowledge, destroy Madhu or Ahankara. In one word, Bhagavan Vyasa introduced Lord Krishna as Jagat Guru in this verse. No wonder that Bhagavan Raman liked this verse, which is the of the Dwichatvarimshat verses. And
Hari Om, Jai Gurudev Bela.
Yeah.
Maybe if anyone else can take over. There is
a voice
internet
break.
disturbance. Yeah, there is. It's not clear.
Oh. Can someone help to read? I can continue sharing the screen, please.
I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead, Sumaji.
Put it from the beginning here, the explanation.
You want me to start from Arjuna?
Yeah,
Arjuna was...
Yeah, please.
No, I think that was okay. You can start from after the Madhusudana. Yeah, maybe the last sentence should be fine.
No, from the Sarvesham Dehe.
Where is that? Oh, okay. Sarvesham Dehe Madhuvat Ishtatvat.
Let me read that. Sarvesham Dehe
Madhuvat ishtatvat madhuhu ahankarah asti. Tasya jnanasina sudayati iti madhusudanaha.
That in all beings there is madhu, honey, ahankara, which is very dear to the beings. Bhagavan is described as the Bhashyakara, as the one who would, with a sword of knowledge, destroy this madhu or ahankara. In one word, Bhagavan Vyasa introduced Lord Krishna as Jagat Guru in this verse. No wonder that Bhagavan Ramana liked this verse, which is the first of the Diva, I can't read the Hindi.
Dwichatvarimshat.
Dwichatvarimshat. Yeah, which is the first of the 42 verses and the curtain riser.
Excuse me. I did not understand how Madhu is equated to Ahankara. Madhu is honey. Ahankara is
because it is as it is very dear to us.
We are born with ahankara, no? The I, as soon as you are born, that I comes, and it is the thing which goes in the last, ahankara. It comes first.
That is there, but it is equated to Madhu. That is the point.
Yeah, because you love yourself, no?
In that way. In that way. Okay.
Yeah.
See, also that thing is Atmanastu Kamaya Sarvam Priyam Bhavati. Whatever we do because we love ourselves. We love ourselves, therefore we love anybody else.
Yes.
It is not like we love others for themselves. No, we love them, therefore we love ourselves, therefore we love them. So the ahankara is finally the last thing that we hold on to. And it is very dear. Someone is praising you, how good you feel inside, no? So that me, I is very dear to us.
And in one verse in this chapter 10, we read that one admires oneself in the mirror. However, he may look, but he always admires himself in the mirror. Maybe he is ugly looking too, but for us he is ugly, but for him he is very beautiful. So that image that he sees in the mirror is he admires that Atma Tattva. That Atma Tattva is there. That is why he is admiring himself in the mirror. And even the mother also, however the child may be crippled or ugly or blind or deaf or anything, but for a mother, the child will always be the most beautiful person on earth and very dear. So it is that that is why it is related to Madhu, which is so sweet.
Thank you.
So one takeaway from this verse, this word Madhusudana, is in case we are caught up with our ego, either we are highly elated because someone is praising us, or we are deflated because someone has humiliated us, both of which are the manifestation of ahankara. I think we just remember him, Madhusudana, and with an attitude of surrender, just let go to him. That will help us come out of this being caught up, being entangled in ego.
No, with the sword of knowledge, he destroys.
Correct. Sword of knowledge, of course, yes. He is the one, because of him, we've got all this Bhagavad Gita and all that. But what I'm saying is, when you're caught up there, one simple thing to do is to just surrender to him. Think of him as Madhusudana. See, that also is a bit of knowledge only, right? In case you're not able to even think about him, you're entangled in your ego, then you're in ajnana. But the moment you take your mind to him, you remember that he is the Madhusudana, and it's just a little takeaway from this.
There is one other meaning where he's the destroyer of that Ashura, Madhu.
That is the demon. That is the Puranic meaning, but this is
Yeah.
the Bhashyakara's
somewhere,
description.
right. Yeah, right. But somewhere in the, what do you call that, the home study that we read, they gave two meanings for this Madhusudan. One is this, it's Adi Shankara, and the other one was that other.
Yeah.
So it is again what we hear, no? That Madhusudana is the earwax. And this Madhu is also the praise and criticism is what we hear that affects us. This is how I connected it yesterday.
Yeah. Madhusudana is Krishna. Madhu and Kaitaba were those asuras.
Yes. No, the Sureshji was asking, no, why Madhu is sweet.
Yeah. That
Why
is
is it is honey, and why is
honey.
Yeah,
when we hear
so
the praise, we become ahankara.
Yeah, and it is
increases.
through the years.
Yes. That's it. Okay, thank you. Seema or Sumani? I don't know.
Suma.
Suma, thank you.
Yeah, someone will have to read this.
We'll go to the next verse.
Nasato.
Yeah, go ahead, Bella. You can.
No, I can't read. I will stumble.
Yeah.
Someone else read, please.
Yeah, I will read. Nasato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah, ubhayorapi drashtuntah, tvanayostatvadarshibhihi.
That which is not has no being, and that which is has no non-being. I repeat, that which is not has no being, and that which is has no non-being. So this is that right in the middle, centered. Neither bound nor free, right in the middle. This is what it is.
I think there is continuation of sentence, Sumaji. I believe.
Okay. Being means truth.
That which is not has no being, that which is has no non-being. Of these two.
Oh, sorry. Of,
yeah, no problem.
Okay, sorry.
No problem. You can read once again.
Yeah. That which is not has no being. That which is has no non-being. Of these two who see clearly and well are the actual seers. Being means truth, knowledge, and infinite existence. And this is Sat. This is beautifully mentioned in the Taittiriya Upanishad as Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Non-being means that which has no independent existence, that which is not true, and that which at best is only apparent is Asat. The being refers to the essence of all of us, refers to Atma or Brahma, all of which means the same, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. Several examples for ease of understanding can be given thus. The mirage, water is Asat, while the effulgent sun is Sat, relatively. Thus, the mirage, which is Asat, has no being, whereas the sun, which is Sat, has no non-being. Neither did the sun create the mirage. However, in the presence of sunshine and owing to environmental effects, the mirage appears, and it is only apparent. None can ever quench one's thirst by drinking the mirage waters, while all can either enjoy or get scorched by the pleasing or hot sun. The snake on the rope is Asat, while the rope is Sat. Thus, the snake which is Asat has no being, whereas the rope which is Sat has no non-being. Again, the rope did not create the snake, which only appears on the rope, obscuring the rope, which is Sat, and also presenting itself as Sat. The real substance, the rope, is not available for our cognition as long as we see the snake. So too is the world of objects and beings, which is like the snake on the rope, which appears as real while simultaneously covering our vision of Brahma. As long as the world appears as true to us, so long Brahma will not be available for our realization. So powerful, no? Another example can be the blue sky or space, which is only apparent and as though obscures the space. The space or sky indeed is black and not blue. The blueness is the apparent play by the sun and our atmosphere. The blue sky or the sky's blueness is Asat and the space is Sat. Yet another example can be the ghost on the post. What indeed is present is the post. But due to ignorance, we perceive the ghost on the post and would be struck with fear and anxiety. The post did not undergo any modification to appear as the ghost for our cognition. Here again, as long as the ghost appears as real, so long will the post as though hide itself behind the ghost. This is not available for our perception. Here the ghost is Asat and post is Sat. Yeah, thank you. A ready example is our body with its matter envelopments, mind, senses, intellect, and ahankara, all of which individually and collectively are Asat, present themselves as real to us, and the real we, the Atma, which is Sat, is hidden from us. Wow, this knowledge should be taught in our teens. This body, mind, intellect, senses, ahankara is Asat. We are so stuck up with that. Bhagavan, through this verse, was trying to instill the wisdom in Arjuna to enable him appreciate that those arrayed in the battlefield cannot be killed. Only their bodies, which are all perishable by nature, can be eliminated in the war. In the classical synthesis of all on the battlefield, Bhagavan was leading Arjuna to know that they are all part of the world, which in itself is only apparent. The Bhashyakara, in his Atma Bodha, presents a beautiful verse in this connection.
Yeah. Yavat satyam jagat bhati shuktikara jatam yada tavannagnanyate brahma sarvadhishthanamadvayam.
You have to raise this, meaning that as long as the world shines as real and true, like even the silver on the mother of pearl, so long will we not know Brahma, which is the basis of everything and which is one without a second. Bhagavan Ramana had Asat Buddhi in respect of the Jagat and Sat Buddhi in respect of himself, that is Atma or Brahma. And that is why this verse was dear to him, because he was a seer, the Tattvadarshi.
येन सर्वमिदं तं विनाशमव्ययस्य कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति.
Yeah, let me chant that again. Yeah, it is, there's a lot of disturbance there. Avinashi tu tad vidhi yena sarvamidam tatam vinashamavyayasya na kaschit kartumarhati.
Understand that which pervades everything is indestructible. None can cause destruction of that which is indeclinable. Sat, as mentioned by Bhagavan in verse 2, is Trikala Abatita.
Trikala abhatita vastu.
Trikala Abatita Vastu, meaning that it cannot be negated.
Sumaji, there is a little bit of disturbance from your side. I'm not sure why, but there is. Yeah. You can just check that.
Is it better now? There's wind outside.
Yeah, now it is better. Yeah.
Sorry, I was just sitting in the sun. Okay, now it's good, no? I'm inside. Sat, as mentioned by Bhagavan in verse 2, is Trikala Abatita Vastu. Abatita Vastu, meaning that it cannot be negated in any of the three periods of time. Bhuta, Bhavishya, or Vartamana Kalas. In fact, it is the very cause of our notion of time and hence beyond it. Sat is before and also after time. Further, it is the truth of everything and the entire universe, known, yet to be known, and unknown is pervaded by it. Yena sarvam idam tattvam. Idam tatam. Yena sarvam idam tatam. Sat is indeed avinashi, indestructible, because the very agent and agent's implements, like the sword, can eliminate Sat. Otherwise, it will be like saying that the sword, which is in space and pervaded by space, can cut asunder the very space which accommodates the sword and which is also the cause of the sword. The very agent, karta, and also the implement are the apparent asat, effects of sat, which is in their very cause. It ought to have been Bhagavan Ramana's second nature to appreciate what is revealed by this verse, because all along his life he lived the truth of the verse, and as such he loved it. So verse 4, chapter 2:20.
Na jayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyah ajo nitya shashvatoyam puranaha na hanyate hanyamane sharire.
It is neither born nor does it ever die. Having been now, it is not that it will not be in future. It is unborn, everlasting, permanent, and ancient. It is not killed, even though the body is eliminated. That which is before time is never born, and that which is aware of time and will be after time can never die. The na in the first line is applicable to Mrityateva. Mrityateva. Mrityateva also. What is Mrityateva? Mritya is death.
Mriyate Mriyate.
Mriyate, mriyate
Mriyate.
deva. What does it mean?
Never die, death. Mrityu.
Okay. Hmm. Meaning that the word, meaning that the verse would read na jayate na mriyate teva. It is Sat, and hence it will be in all periods of time. No birthday, because it is, even before time was not, and it is everlasting, owing to its being the very witness of time. Hence, permanent and ancient. The very body and the space occupied by the body are pervaded by it, and hence it cannot be eliminated by eliminating the body. Take the case of a pot which is in space. If someone breaks the pot and claims that he broke space along with the pot, that person will be laughed at because the very skin of the pot is space, and also the pot is in space. Further, it is inside the pot is also space, and also the pot owes its existence to space, which is its cause. This verse is like free-flowing continuation of its earlier verse, and as such was very dear to Bhagavan Ramana. Yeah, verse 5, chapter 224.
अच्छेद्यो ह्योऽयम् अक्लेद्यो शोष्य एव च नित्यः सर्वगतः स्थाणुः अचलोऽयं सनातनः.
This self cannot be cut, burnt, drowned, or dried. It is changeless, all-pervading, stable, immovable, and eternal. Sat is Atma, and this was evident through the verse in the Gita earlier to this. Now, this verse, Bhagavan gives hints to realize Atma by giving some pointers. It would be wrong to say that Bhagavan described the attributes of Atma because it is nirguna and hence attribute-less. Atma cannot be cut asunder by a sword, a derivative of earth. Thus, the agent is the earth. It cannot be burnt, agent fire. It cannot be wetted, agent water. And it cannot be dried up, agent air. It is everlasting. It is present everywhere. And it is stable, unmoving, and ancient. Thus, the four elements, earth, fire, water, and air, cannot harm Atma, and Atma is aware of both space and time. In fact, it is the very basis for even these two. So, it is depicted that Atma is beyond the influence of the five elements and even time. What else beyond these six are known to us? All other things and beings are only products of these six. When the very elements and time cannot touch Atma, what to speak of their effects? Thus, nothing, no agent can injure Atma. Thus, Bhagavan reinforces the knowledge that Atma cannot be killed. Hence, Ashochayam Anvashochatsvam.
Ashocyan Anvashochas.
This is 2.11, second chapter, 11th verse. Meaning that Arjuna was grieving for that which does not deserve any grief. This model and negation, therefore, was presented by Bhagavan even in the preceding verse, chapter 2:23, which reads thus.
Jai Gurudev, one question, like it slipped in from my mind, where we read this, Atma is aware of both space and time. Can anyone explain? It slipped from my mind. What was it like? Atma is aware of both space and time. Thus, the four elements, earth, fire, water, and air, cannot harm Atma. And Atma is aware of both space and time. In fact, it is the very basis for even these two.
Because it is all pervading, no? And time is all about the how the movements of the earth and moon and sun depends on the planetary positions. We have created this dimension of time. So, and space is also a limited this thing. Whereas when we say Atma, it is all pervading. The very attribute of the Atma is all pervading, no? So how you can limit it to the space? So it is beyond space and time. Time is also the creation of us only through this orbital planetary movements.
Yeah, what, like
It is
I
not my
wanted to know, like what
understanding.
awareness, what in what way that awareness is mentioned here. I know that Atma is beyond space and time, but how is Atma aware of both space and time? I didn't follow this.
Yeah.
Because
Can I
these all
request you to, sorry,
these all
Suresh, you
will
can,
be in the, this all is in Atma only. The basis for space, time, and all these 5 elements is the Adhara is Atma. That is what it is. No? Stable moving 4 elements and the air cannot. But Atma is beyond the influence of the 5 elements. I didn't read that where it is.
yeah, Savita ji, maybe you can write this question down for tomorrow. When Nana comes, you can check it out. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
No, the
Thank you.
very elements and time cannot touch Atma because for all this, Atma is the Adhara. So we cannot touch it.
Sureshji, there is some background noises coming up.
See, my little understanding of this time factor is, in order for us to experience time, you need to move from one point A to point B, and because of this movement, that time is created. Whereas Atma is Ananta. It is all pervading, and it is the only thing. So where is there any movement in there? So whatever movement, even time is, like Madhuri ji very rightly said, is a creation of Atma. But the question of how Atma is aware of time, that I'm not sure. That is because he is the only one, right? I don't know whether there is a Mahat Buddhi over there where awareness happens. I think he is even beyond awareness, because that is the only thing. It's so unimaginable to even think how this Atma Tattva is, isn't it? We are talking of awareness, but actually, is he awareness, or is it beyond that? That's a very profound question you have. Please put it down and let's ask Nana about it tomorrow.
Atma is consciousness. And as this is my understanding, this, as Brahmaraji said, time is a concept between 2 points, and that is experienced by us because we have this awareness or developed some awareness now and then. And that is how the concept of time, which has been given to us, we understand that. But Atma as consciousness is aware of that concept of time and what is the other one? Of space also, right?
Yeah, space and time.
Awareness of time and space.
Space
Yeah.
and time go together always.
Yeah. My understanding of Atma is Atma is consciousness. And consciousness has this awareness. And now and then we also get a glimpse of that awareness through our practices. Jai Gurudev. So there is a distinction between consciousness and awareness. How and what, I don't know, but I feel so.
So we will
Because
go
they
ahead.
say ekam nityam, because consciousness is only now, is now, this moment only. So it is beyond time, beyond the Trikala. And it is the only one. So it is beyond awareness as well, beyond space as well. I don't know what Atma is. Okay, should I continue?
Yeah, we continue.
Yes, please.
Nainam
Yeah.
chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na chainam kledayantyapah, na shoshayati marutaha. I will read also the chant, the next one. You can give the meaning. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu, dhruvam janma mritasya cha, tasmada pariharyete, natvam shochitumarhasi.
Weapons do not cut this self, nor does fire burn. Water does not wet it, and wind does not dry it. It is said that Bhagavan Ramana happily went through a surgical procedure on his body without any anesthesia. Is this not a testimony to his firm adherence to the above verses and liking them? For that which is born, death is certain, and for that which is dead, birth is certain. Therefore, you should not grieve over that which cannot be altered. Verses of this nature are quite a few in the Gita, and they tend, perhaps, to highlight the avidya, jnana, kama, karma, mrityu, jnanam. Jnanam, janma, sorry. I repeat that, to highlight the avidya, janma, kama, karma, mrityu, janma cycle. So avidya, janma, kama, karma, mrityu, janma cycles of samsara. So ignorance and desire, the cause for this samsara, cycles of samsara. And caught in that. This verse, without any shade of doubt, proclaims that punarjanma is definite. Of course, as long as avidya torments. The verse also hints at karma phala, owing to which is another janma after death. Repeated cycles of samsara are certain for the one who has no atmajnana. By the selection of this verse as a part of his favorites, Bhagavan Ramana was perhaps urging his devotees to develop a commitment to come out of the clutches of samsara by steadfast adherence to Atma Vidya. Verse 7.
Bhagwan Ramana, he was always in the, he was not in the Dehi Bhava. He was always in Atma Bhava. That was why he did not require any anesthesia. It's such a wonder.
True.
Yeah,
And
it's just beautiful to visualize also him thinking whenever you see his any video or post, no, he's always in that Atma Chintan Bhava. So beautiful, no?
then the second shloka, you should not grieve over that which cannot be altered. We can relate it to our normal activities also, like something which you cannot change the situation. You should not complain or grieve over it. You just accept it. No?
Yeah, very true.
We should not
Very
complain. We
true.
should, whatever, like, if you can correct it, you can rectify it, you should do. But if it is not in your hand, then you should accept and move on.
Yeah,
That is
active
also very,
acceptance.
yeah.
Also, with respect to the earlier verse where he talks of the mirage, you can never quench your thirst with the water of the mirage. Is there an echo when I'm talking?
No,
I
not
can
fine.
I can hear
Yeah,
some background voice when I'm talking. I don't.
yeah, slight echo is there, but you are clear.
Maybe it's because all of us are open, unmuted. I don't know. Let me just check that out. 1 second. Yeah, maybe. How is it now? Now I can't hear any echo. So when you cannot quench your thirst with the water of the mirage. So our looking and seeking happiness in the world outside, in the material world, is similar to quenching your thirst from the waters of the mirage. No matter how much you go into the material world outside, you will always come back seeking for more, because your thirst for your seeking happiness is not quenched. It is only in the Atma Tattva that you can revel and feel complete. So whenever we're thinking of, in the following verses, there is a lot of those, what we need to do. That is, you need to have a control and say over your mind, intellect, and the sense organs. So when that comes to that, if we just remember this, that the world is nothing but like a mirage. No amount of us quenching our thirst from the mirage will help. I think this thing will probably help. This thought came to me when I looked at us going out into the world to satisfy our senses. Because there is more. There is that alam buddhi is not there. Right? Alam is enough. That enough buddhi is not there. It is like anala. It is like the fire. You keep adding, you want more and more and more. Just wanted to share that.
Like in the poor section, they get very little amount, and that santushti bhav they have more, rather than the children of a very affluent society. Their desires are more because they know that we can fulfill them, and the weaker section, because they know that we have to compromise with this thing only, they have more santushti bhava. Or maybe after crushing their desires, they get this santushti bhava more easily. I don't know. I was just interpreting it as you were describing this.
Jai
Very
Gurudev.
beautiful.
Pramaraji, can you please explain the alam, and you mentioned one more word?
Anala, right? Anala is fire. Fire
Alam?
is anala, and alam buddhi is enough buddhi. Enough buddhi is, contented. Enough. I don't want any more. This is fine. I'm happy with this. That alam buddhi is not there with anala. With the fire, the more you keep adding in the ahuti, he will want more. He rages even higher and higher. And so Similarly, our mind going out into the senses and indulging in the sense objects in the world outside, you're never satisfied, isn't it? Once you get something, there is something more. Another desire crops, another desire crops. So that the happiness you get from the world outside is never satiating. Similar to, trying to quench your thirst from a mirage. In the verse, I think 2-3 verses before, when we were talking of that nasato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sataha. So the only being that there is Atma. Everything else is anatma, including the world. So how we are going out to the sense objects and trying to satiate our senses is like drinking water from the mirage. It'll never be satisfied. It is like anala. You'll need more and more. That alam buddhi comes when with atma jnana. When you're with the knowledge, then you say, oh, this is only the senses. That is again jnana, right? So that jnanasina, you can bring in yourself that sense of contentment. Should we go to the next? Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan atmanyevatmana tushtaha stita prajnastadocyate. Yeah. Sumaji, you unmute yourself and speak. I muted you, huh? Yeah.
Okay, yeah. When one gives up all desires as they occur in the mind, O Partha, happy in oneself, by oneself alone, that one is said to be of ascertained knowledge. When Arjuna sought the lakshanas of a jnani, Sthita Prajna, Bhagavan gave him to understand that the Sthita Prajna conforms totally to the following. All desires sprouting in the mind of the Sthita Prajna are totally eliminated without any reminder. This state is attained by assimilation of the essence of Sat and Asat, by proper means of knowledge, by understanding, and a life fruitfully committed to rediscovery of freedom or moksha. The Sthita Prajna is happy in himself, by himself, and no external inputs are necessary for that happiness. The external world can neither add to his happiness, to raise this, nor can his happiness be diminished. The Sthita Prajna's happiness is uninfluenced by even the deepest of sorrows, and happiness does not get a boost by any sudden rush of an ecstasy of joy from outside. The Sthita Prajna conforms to the above lakshanas owing to his attainment of his true nature, which is happiness. Bhagavan Ramana, in his days, was a living example of Sthita Prajna, and it is natural for him to like this verse because his true nature was the essence of this verse. Naturally, he loved it. Atmastu kamaya idam shlokam priyam bhagavati priyam bhavati.
Atmanastu kamaya idam shlokam priyam bhavati. Yeah, very beautiful.
Verse 8, chapter 2.71.
Vihaya kamanya sarvan pumanscharati nisprahaha nirmamo nirahankaraha sashantimadhigacchati ragadvesha viyuktaistu vishayanindriyaischaran atmavasyairvidheyatma prasadhamadhigacchati.
Having given up all binding desires, that person who moves around devoid of longing, without the sense of false I and mine, gains peace. In verse 2.64 of the Gita, Bhagavan said, the essence of the present verse. Verse 6.24 reads thus, okay, when one is free from raga, like, and dvesha, dislike, even though the senses contact their objects, that person with a mastered mind and senses under control attains tranquility. Thus, for attaining peace, the requisites are sublimation of desires, which are bothersome and binding. The other harmless desires may be there, like even Bhagavan Ramana wanting to answer his devotees' questions. Another example of non-binding desire is, I would like to have idlis for breakfast, and when indeed puris are brought, the idli wanting person eats the puris happily, with neither a murmur in his mind, nor any longing for the idlis, and nor even any sense of loss. As long as the mind is, so long would the desire sprout. It is the nature of the mind to desire. But the important thing is not to get bound by the desires. Just watch the desires, fulfilled or otherwise. Secondly, the false sense of I-ness and also the sense of minus are required to be are required to be totally dropped by understanding their futility and also their obstructive nature in the path of progress for freedom. This condition is driven by a mastered mind and as a corollary with the supreme control of the sense organs. Bhagavan Ramana was an embodiment of the above lakshanas, which were very dear to him. And as such, the verse 8, chapter 2.71 was dear too. So verse 9 and 10 from chapter 3, 17 and 18. Brahmaraji?
Sorry, I was muted. Yasmat maratireva syat atmatriptasya manavaha atmanyeva cha santushtaha tasya karyam na vidyate naiva tasya krite natho na krite neha kaschana na chasya sarva bhuteshu kaschitardhavyapashrayaha.
For that person who would delight in the self, who is satisfied with the self, contented with the self alone, there is nothing to be done. For that person, there is indeed no purpose in doing or not doing anything, nor does that person depend on anyone or anything whatsoever. Pursuit of any activity is always with a purpose in mind. It may be an accomplishment which is dear, a benefit much sought after, a recognition in the society, a kind of security, an insurance for food and shelter, taking care of a family or someone dear, supporting some hapless, and such like. All these beneficial results render a person happy, and that is what anyone seeks when undertaking any task. However, that person who fully conforms to these two verses has no purpose in mind, and hence nothing is required to be done for him. Tasya karyam na vidyate. Karyam means Shastra Vihita Karma. That is a work which is ordained by the Shastra. And the Shastra is for the ignorant person. However, when one is happy with himself, by himself, and in himself, that one is said to have erased all ignorance. The Shastra has no purpose for such a person, and hence no karyam for that person. Not that the person does not do anything, but that person need not do anything for happiness, because that person rediscovered the happiness which is himself. Such a person does everything out of happiness, not for it. These verses, as though remind us of verse 7, chapter 2.55. Chapter 2.55 sloka. Bhagavan Ramana visibly demonstrated total adherence to the above two verses, which is dear to one, becomes the favorite of him. So verse 11, chapter 3.42.
Jai Gurudev, can we discuss something like over Raga Dvesha?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, how, like in living in this worldly life, how to be make ourselves aloof from Raga and Dvesha, because you are in a whole day you get caught up somewhere in Raga Dvesha, not intentionally, but you do get caught up. So it is sometimes I think it is that is how easy for it is for the sannyasis that they do not bother about anything about their food, shelter, living. So for them to make themselves free of raga dvesha is more easy rather than for us who are in this worldly life. So I wanted to know like what all things we can have in our mind so that we remain aloof from raga and dvesha. Like whenever we get caught up, we realize that we are again being caught up in this, because the raga dvesha is the mainstay of our life, which makes us makes a distance from that spiritual life. It doesn't help you to grow easily. Raga dvesha holds a very much much more percentage in a life, so it prevents us from leading that spiritual life, though we want to, but we can't easily. We can't. So just everyone can say their point. Yeah.
See, number one is moving from a desire-based living to need-based living. You need certain things because you're a social animal, you're a social being. You cannot not need certain things. So, and if you direct your life, life's whatever you going into the outside world, make it need-based. Like you need toothpaste to brush your teeth. You cannot not have toothpaste. So you go ahead and you can have a preference even that you want a particular brand of toothpaste, but let it be a non-binding desire. If you don't get the toothpaste of your choice, you make do with whatever is. So then that the desire, the craving for having one particular brand only will slowly start coming down. That is one aspect of it. Second is to come from this knowledge. I don't know, for me, this example of this drinking water from the mirage is kind of really hit me is very, very hard inside. So when you know this knowledge that no matter how much you go into the outside world, it is only going to be like drinking water from a mirage. Then slowly that craving and aversion will slowly come down, is what I think. Maybe others can also share.
And
I
accepting
want to
also,
give
like
an
whatever
example
is.
here, Jai Gurudev. Um, excellent example for all of us. This quenching the thirst from the mirage water is also important. You need to keep this thing in the mind, in the background. Bhanu Didi was searching for some particular pattern, color, or some particular sari for very long time. It is a very old story, 20 years back. And she tried to find it in Mysuru, Bangalore, and wherever she was going, she was searching for that some particular combination. And moving around in the markets and all, and she somehow she could find that sari, and she brought it. And one of the days before she wore that sari, Guruji said ki somebody came, and always Gurudev, if Sumangali lady is there, he always used to uh, do the samman by giving the sari and all, so many things. So Gurudev asked Bhanu ki jao wo sari अगर वो वाले रखा है वो लेके आओ. She brought different saris, and then he insisted, not this one, and ultimately when she brought the sari, which she found it with so much difficulty for herself, and Gurudev asked that sari immediately to give the lady who was there, who came as a devotee. So the Didi shared this example. So like very due to the raga, if something is coming up within you and you use it, but if the time comes and you had to forgo that, you should be ready. I think this is the big lesson for all of us. If we can learn something from, means having preferences is okay, but if you have to let go of that kind of preference of any raga, or even dvesha also, something we don't like and we have to go through the situation or people or some object which you don't like and you have to possess that or something, we should become more and more neutral to this. That's what, even after going behind it, am I able to let go or forgo that? I think we need to. But the best example I feel is that drinking water from Mirage. Jai Gurudev.
Letting go of the dear, what is dear to you, and accepting the situation as it comes. This is the
Yes. How
I
much
got
you
it.
get shaken up by giving up your the object which is so dear to you. How much you are comfortable giving up that.
And how we
That
give the things which we do not require to others, and we hold the things which are dear to us. We don't want to give. We give things which are not in good shape, or we don't require. Well, unwanted things we give, and we give with difficulty. With like what you like, you will give it a lot of. You will have to have a courage to give what you desire for yourself. It will take a courage to donate it to someone. This is very true. Very nice
And
example.
yeah,
No,
and I think we
Uh,
just read
with
that as long as there is a mind, there will be desire. So desires will be there, but then outcome of that desire, we will work for the desire, and the outcome comes, we have to accept it equanimously. This is what I got it from the reading today.
no, what happens, from the start of the day, we start with I like this, I don't like this. Hot water. Oh, it is too hot. It is too cold. This every moment we will be judging it. So that we have to stop. Whatever it is there, we have to just use it, accept it. It's a very tough, very, very tough. But this I like it, I don't like it. we see from every moment we say that, that we have to stop.
Also, with the knowledge of the present moment is inevitable, we will slowly, the hold that the raga dvesha has on us will come down. Because when you accept that the present moment is inevitable, whatever is happening to you at that time, you're in acceptance. You're not holding on to say, oh, this is not what I wanted. You're not averse to it, neither are you craving for the result. So I think all these knowledge points really come in there, no? Opposite values are complementary. Accept people and situation. All of this actually comes down to this dealing with raga dvesha. It's a very beautiful point you brought up, Savitaji.
Most of what was shared just now was regarding cravings, but about aversions, what Dr. Brahmara just said, accepting people as they are. For that, if we go deeper into it, it is like, what is ego? Holding on to an identity. And then from there, if you go to who am I am nothing. Either I am nothing or I am everything. Then with love and compassion, you can encompass everybody whom you may be having hatred for. If you don't hold on to an identity, then you can give love and compassion, and you can accept that person the way that person is, or accept the situation. So even for our dvesha, we have to watch our own ego. Where are we coming from? Are we sitting in judgment over people? That is why the hatred is coming up. And normally it happens with people who are in our close contact only, either family members, relations, or if you are working in the office, colleagues, boss, whatever. So hatred for them because of whatever. Now how we can drop it all with knowledge and looking at our ego as to where are we coming from. So dropping the dveshas is equally important as the ragas.
Yeah, and not having complete knowledge, like if you have little knowledge, you develop ahankara, then you will be finding more faults in others. You will always be in a judging mode.
Very true. That way, like in an art of living, we take courses in jails, we work with terrorists and all that also. We give them a second chance. So our relationships, wherever they are, with children, mother-in-law, or whoever, they are not terrorists or inmates. More so the reason why we should not be having aversion towards them. I'm just giving an example. But like normally aversions are also to people whom we are in contact with. If you don't know somebody, it wouldn't matter at all to you what that person said.
And communist is mother-in-laws. So communist.
I just cited that as an example.
Yeah.
Mother-in-law, your spouse, like what Percy ji said is very true. It is like a laboratory for us, no? Our own inner circle, the family that we are engaged in. It becomes your laboratory for us to practically put to use this knowledge. Yeah. Otherwise, it will remain a concept.
Yeah,
just
we
go on saying it like a parrot, but what you're actually doing on ground level is you're again getting caught up in the raga dveshas. So if you can step back in your interactions with people and say, what is happening? Is this coming out of my aversion to this person's behavior? So small example is when my husband uses a shower in one of the bathrooms. That is the bathroom I go to wash my feet. If I go out, I go and wash my feet there. So 2-3 times it so happened that when I switch on the tap to wash my feet, the shower thing is open. So I got a nice shower of water on my head. So I told him once, twice, and thrice. I said, see, please, after you use the shower, please put it down so that I'm not in for a surprise when I go to wash my feet. Now, 5th time also it happened. Then, see, being a human being, I got upset and I told him, how many times should I tell you? I said, can you please put this down? And then I was actually looking at myself. I said, why am I getting so upset? if I know that the shower button is on and it's happened 4 times till now, 5 times, let me just put it down and wash my feet and not get caught up in that. When I came to that realization yesterday, when I went to wash my feet, the shower button was down actually. So what I'm saying, it's a small example. But what I'm saying is these are these little things where we get so, I mean, I'm talking of myself. I got so, it was a reason for me being upset for something like that. So I think if we are aware again, that is the key again, is to be aware and use our daily living as a laboratory where we can put to practical use the knowledge that we listen to and understand here.
That is where in Gurudev says na, that anger also is just a distortion of love. You want perfection, and therefore that perfection turns into anger.
Correct.
So it's just a love upside down sort of. So basically, in all our relations, we love the people whom we are living with. But because of these distortions that are there, and then to be able to see that this, when you saw with full awareness that why don't I put the button down, you found that the job was already done. So giving that, coming from compassion, coming from love, I think Ashtavakra Gita's first chapter, we need to revisit, Like the first chapter itself gives all the 5 points which are needed for a sadhak. We need to revisit it somehow. Then, that aversion will also go. A lot of times we are just talking about cravings, but we are not taking aversions into picture. And the aversions are what are disturbing our mind more than the cravings. Cravings would be like, okay, I need a car, a better car or whatever, that will happen. So your mind is not that disturbed. Okay, you're working towards that objective and goal. There's a planning for it. But aversion is something that it happens. The situation just happens every day or whatever. Like,
This is really very
Normally,
true.
it is,
And can you
like
please
if
explain how we take somebody's hatred? Because we take we hating somebody, I understand, but someone hates you or someone dislikes you. How do we take that part?
see, he's hating you or disliking you is because of his ignorance. He's not in knowledge. Had he had the knowledge that we are all one, then he would have been able to give unconditional love. And now that you're a sadhak, a jnani probably, jnani ke lakshan kya hote hai? What is the attributes of a jnani? Is to forgive people, give him compassion because of his ignorance, not look down upon him, you're so ignorant, you hate me. It is his lack of knowledge. So those who lack knowledge, okay. So you don't need to be a victim nor a culprit. And don't look
how to
upon him
behave.
also as a victim or a culprit. It is just plain, simple lack of knowledge on his part that is
How
causing his aversion to you.
one question I have: how to behave with people who are untruthful, like they always lie? How to behave with them?
See,
We
there
know
also
that.
in Narad Bhakti Sutras, it is said, the husband lies to the wife because he doesn't want to lose her love. That is why he lies to her. So same thing with children. They don't want to lose your love. So they may. Maybe
And
if
what
you look
about
inward, you must have got angry with them when when they did a bad action. The action was bad. The child was not bad. And then he stops sharing with you. He does not tell
uh,
you. Previously, he used
no?
to come and tell you
What?
the truth. Mama,
Yeah,
I
but
tried
what about
beer
the
today.
workers? Like the workers doing, like my cook who makes food, he says so much of lies. मतलब जिसको कहते हैं ना सफेद झूठ, like he
Yeah,
मतलब
it's okay.
आंखों
Now
के
it's
सामने
coming
he
out
will
of
say
ignorance.
that
That is
I
why
am
he's
not
getting
doing.
caught.
Yeah, so it's very
He's getting
difficult
caught
to.
because it's coming out of ignorance.
Yeah, the
Like
more
we are
like
going
you
to be
try
averse to
to
his
educate
actions.
him, yeah, but he will not follow. The more I try to educate him, he still persists on that. Like he consistently
But
lie,
then you
and
look
I
at it now, what you resist persists.
yeah.
All cause points, you are resisting him the way he is. You're not accepting it. And what you resist
Yeah,
persists.
but if like if he's doing He's like
Ifs and
he
buts
puts so
means you
much
are
of oil
resisting.
and masalas into the food. I keep on telling him that don't like it is harming all the people in the house. Please don't put. He makes food according to his tastes. So repeatedly, if I say, so it becomes like nagging. So I don't like it, but somehow then I compromise. It's okay. I will not have. I'll not be able to have this food. I'll make something else. But eh, I am like inner this thing. No, I get hurt. Like why is he doing like this? Why I am telling him so many times, but still he is doing the same thing day after day. So it becomes very a problem which has no solution. Sometimes how
Sometimes you
much
have to let go of a person. Like if he's a cook, let's change him.
yeah,
See, if a
it's
person is into a
he's
sales
been
line
with us from
and
last
he is not a
20.
good salesman, I have to
Yeah,
throw him out of his job. When I was in the corporate world, I had done it many times. And then
yeah.
probably they went into accounts and they were better off there.
It's only matters for I because I am in touch with the kitchen. It matters for me. The other people in the house, they just complain and they eat it. But I being like always thinking what is nutritional and what is better, what is good for health. I always see through that. So
Then
it
you
is
need to
it
look
is
at
very
active
difficult.
acceptance. Na? Active
Yeah.
acceptance means taking corrective action.
You have
So
to
the
But
take
corrective
it is
active
not
action will
easy
be
to
action, Dr.
replace. Yeah,
Savita. You
he's with
have to
me
take
for last
active.
28 years.
No, no,
He's
this,
from
28 years you have
22.
been putting up with him. Na? He would have been in a better space where people would have enjoyed his food with oil and ghee and whatever and
Yeah,
more
but
salt.
he's not ready
Right.
to go, and my other members they don't let him go. So for me, it is a very perplexing situation. That
Then you make your own food rather than
yeah,
eating.
I do that way. I have stopped myself like from I don't disturb my mind, and I don't say anything to him.
you
If
know
it
what
is
you can do,
palatable, I eat.
Dr.
Otherwise, I make my food.
Yeah.
But
Dr.
yeah,
Savita, let him do an Ayurvedic cooking course. Let him do that. This is what I did with my maid who used to cook. She used to cook for us. So I got her enrolled in the Ayurvedic cooking course. Sometimes you keep telling them so many times, it doesn't work. But when
yeah.
someone tells them and they see, oh, you can still make nutritious cooking without the use of oil and things like that, then some small changes might might happen. But given his age, maybe he's at an age where that correction may not be
He's in
possible.
40. He's in
So what
40s.
you can do is when he's doing the actual putting the oil and the masala, you be there if it's possible for you. You add whatever amount you require, and that's it. And maybe
Yeah,
that's
I
the
try
solution.
be there, but sometimes I'm often not there when he's
Yeah,
making.
I understand. I understand that.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe
But
you
I'll
can
try
also
to
take
make
the
him a course for this Ayurvedic cooking. I'll try if it
Mm.
happens. Yeah.
that's a
You can
beautiful
show
idea.
him as a doctor, you can show him the ill effects of eating so much of oil, so showing him some pictures of atherosclerosis and things like that. So probably that might make a difference for himself. If you tell him for you yourself it is not good, then maybe that little
Actually, he
might.
himself is not health conscious. Na, that is why he's this thing.
Mm.
Yeah.
I
Thank
think
you.
all the four things you do, no, one is things will change. If things don't change, he's doing it. Okay, this is going to remain the same. Third is like what we do in the advanced course. Third is bring up your valor. Fourth is surrender. You completely surrender and let go. Tell him, you teach him all of this and let go, and then let that see what happens after that.
Okay. Thank you.
And one more thing I wanted to ask. Like I was in India and I had to deal with many people over there. Like I had to get done some work at my house. And the kind of people I met with, I couldn't trust them. Like if they give quotation, it would be 10 times more or so. I would tell them that I will not negotiate. You have to give the right thing. But none of these helped. And I started distrusting people. Like I started doubting, and which might not be my nature. So it was really disturbing me. And what happened, like at the airport when I was coming in at Bombay, there was a person who was asking for burger at KFC, and my daughter was buying one. And that fellow had just 200 rupees and something like 60 rupees he was short of. And he was from another country, and he was pleading that at the counter, like, I'm hungry and really need, I don't have any more change. And for some time, just few minutes, it was, if it was me earlier, I would not even thought of for a second that should I pay for him. But this time it took some time to trust that person, whether he's telling lies or really he doesn't have any money, or he might be a druggist, like, that kind of thoughts were happening. But then I said, if I start distrusting people, uh, uh, someone who is really in need will not get the help. And then I paid his bills, and that person, all the change, remaining change, he returned it back to me. So he was only for that burger. But then when you meet with people whom you can't trust, you start doubting other people also. How to get over that?
I think again keeping the vyavhar and this thing, Parmarth, one thin line, because it is very natural for us with our own experiences in the world, that we need to have that viveka also, no? And it is, don't miss, little bit doubt has to be there, so that afterwards we should not repent that I supported or did something uh, which was not which is not conducive for the society. गलत आदमी को जाके help करना, like, it's stupidity on our part, and we
But
also get caught up in the karma.
unless you see the result, you will not know whether you have done right or wrong. So just before that, how do we take a
Then
decision
say
whether to
Jai
help
Gurudev,
someone or?
from your pure heart and your pure destiny, you took that action, and saying Jai Gurudev, you need to, this every time you cannot, like, it may turn right or wrong, that is not under your control, but at that moment, spurt of time, that compassion came in your mind, and you took some action, but then don't repent about it.
I think being spontaneous
Yeah.
is be one of the solutions. So spontaneously you want to do and help. If someone is falling down, you don't think, no, oh, this person, if I support him, will he be, I don't know whether he's worthy of this help. You don't think all of that. If someone is falling, you very naturally go and help him, prevent the fall or help him up. So I think spontaneity is one of the solutions. And yeah, otherwise, because we can't keep looking at the world with this film of judgment, then we cannot trust anyone for that matter. So we come from the space of trust and look at your inner, listen to your inner intuition, your inner voice, and then go about. What some person's wrongdoing has affected you in the trust of people need not be used for everything else. It doesn't translate into it. But that is how the world is right now. Corruption is the in thing. People are wanting to make money. So with that knowledge, I think we have to be practical as well, and then be spontaneous.
It's very difficult, where, like, I am such person that I never doubt a person. Whatever he or she say, I accept. Like, I am more gullible person. So I have, because of that quality, I have suffered a lot many times, and many people have used me for their, like, own this profits. So
I am gullible. That is a label that you are putting on yourself.
yeah, but
Only when you
I
remove the
never
label
doubt.
will you become able. Only when
never
you remove
doubt
the
a person.
label, again, that is inferiority complex coming from ego. Just watch all this with awareness, more and more awareness.
Yeah, but
Gurudev says,
you know,
business you do from the head and relationship you maintain from the heart. Don't do the
yeah,
opposite or you'll end up suffering.
I don't know. I never doubt a person. I always accept what he or she says. So that is I think that is my negative point or positive point. I don't know, and how to handle it also I don't know. Because you speak with a pure heart. You never doubt a person. You don't judge him. So how the other person is taking you, how is he manipulating you? I don't figure out. Like
I think
sometimes
what we do is, if you can put down these questions when Nana comes tomorrow, we can ask him, and we'll learn from him as well. Yeah, I think we'll close here today, and tomorrow we'll have Nana's session. So let's all come along together. Jai Gurudev. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamast.